I'm here to share with you some experience and lesson learned in the implementation of a project related to access and use of climate information in Tanzania. Next slide. So to start with, I would like to speak about the context, which has already been spoken about by colleagues from TMWA as well, that TMWA is providing different types of climate services focused for the agriculture sector or contributing in the agriculture sector. But not all of them are being accessed or used by the farmers. There are some which are more accessible to the farmer and more used by the farmer. And what you can see on the slide is a result of the assessment that we conducted at the end of the Msimu season in Unimodo areas in June, where we asked the farmers and livestock keepers to tell us what type of information they were able to get during the entire season. So the results, as you can see, the three outstanding findings are that seasonal weather forecasts were the most accessible to all of them, followed by the daily forecast, and the rest were not that much accessed. We can see we have the decadal information, which is the 10 days information. It was accessed by 15% of the respondents in 4 project districts. So we can see that the decadal is very much needed because of the issues related to dry spell and wet spell within the season in order to assist farmers to make informed decisions. Let's go to the next slide. So the access and use of information by farmer, even though as we already know, it is provided through different channels, the ability of farmers and extension officers to access this information actually differs. If you can see on the finding as well, which was is based on the study that we conducted, we can see that most of the farmers access information first of all using radios and television. These are their primary means for them to receive information. And most of this information are related to seasonal information just before the season, but also daily information, which always comes through with the news advert during the day. But the other exceptional finding is that extension officers, they are a key source of information that is used by farmers and extension officers. And this makes us to wanted to know now, how do extension officers access their information? Can you click next and I see what comes? Okay, go back, please. Okay, so in terms of extension officer, for them, the key means by which they use to access information, first of all, they also use television, just like farmers, and others use head of department. This is an important finding because TMWA has got registered the head of departments and other extension officers to whom they send seasonal and also decadal information. So once those receive, they share them with extension officers for further dissemination to livestock officers and farmers at the field level. But another means by which extension officers receive information is the use of mobile phones, especially social medias. They use social medias, and others were saying that they were using Google, where they Google like what is the weather of this area. And once they do that, they get information for the season as well as for the decadal. And sometimes they use the information they get to provide a daily forecast on how it would be. And this information are being used to inform or advise livestock keepers and farmers on how they can make informed decisions in planning of their agricultural activities. Let's go next. Moving forward, there are actually some concerns in terms of the use of this information. And before we engaged in the implementation of the actual project, we conducted a scoping study in collaboration with the TMWA and the Ministry of Agriculture to understand what are the factors behind access and use of this information. So lack of downscaled agrometeorological information, as it was said by McLean, it is a pinning challenge that is facing most of these farmers. Next. Click next. Yes, but the other challenge that they have is the limited understanding on the interpretation of the services that are being provided by the Tanzania Meteorological Agency. Some of them, you receive the seasonal forecast, and then after 10 days, you receive the decadal forecast, and then you receive the daily forecast. Farmers and livestock keepers were confused. So how do I make use of all this? Which one is relevant? Which one is not? How do I use them together? But also the challenge in the use of understanding when you say it is normal, rainfall above normal or below normal. So these are some of the challenges which they were facing. Next. So absence of climatic information that they can use to compare the information that they receive was also another challenge. When you say this is the normal rain, most of the farmers and livestock keepers, they refer to the previous year, how it was, or the event where it was so drought or there was flooding because of heavy rain. Those are their references. Their references are not related to the actual number of the information collected over a long time to understand this is normal for us, this is above normal, and this is below normal. So the lack of those information was a challenge to them as well. Next again. And lastly, low access and use of agrometeorological information and product was a key challenge. And for this one, most of them, it's because of poor penetration of internet access, but also the radio or lack of power in rural areas. Those challenge the access to this information. Go on. So there are efforts which have been done by the United Republic of Tanzania in collaboration with the Tanzania Meteorological Authority in order to increase the access and use of agrometeorological information by the agricultural stakeholders in the country. And in this, click next, USAID with technical support from USDA were able to collaborate with FAO to implement a project on building capacity for resilient food security, in which the fifth capacity was focusing on the increasing access and use of agrometeorological information by farmers. So through this project, we have been able to work together with the Ministry of Agriculture in both Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar, as well as TMWA, to increase the access and use of the downscale district forecast, but also to increase on the interpretation and use of agrometeorological services by developing a manual. It is called Agrometeorological Training of Trainers Manual, where extension officers can be trained on how to access, interpret, and use different types of agrometeorological services. Click next. Yes, so we have also supported the Tanzania Meteorological Authority to develop agrometeorological database that can be able to increase real-time access to climatic information at a district level and regional level, but also at the country level to be able to interpret or understand the weather forecast that is being provided by comparing with the long-term information that is accessible. Click next. But we have also supported to simplify the language of information that is used to communicate with farmers to make it more user-friendly and less technical for them to easily understand and make use of the information that is being provided. And lastly, click next. We have also worked hand in hand with TMWA to ensure that there is an increase in network coverage and ground observation through support on the provision of equipment such as rain gauges, but also computers which can assist in analyzing this information. So those are some of the things that has been able to be done. Now here we have a testimony from some of the farmers themselves. Here we have our colleague Mohamed Kombo from Pemba in Zanzibar, who before they were able to fully understand how to use weather information, they were actually dying in the sea. You can see right there, he said we would have at least 3 incidents of fishermen being caught up in bad storm and disappear for good. But thanks to the weather information, they are grateful that now they've been able to save lives. Can you click next, please? No, previous. Go to the previous. I think there is one slide that is not showing. So they have been grateful to the information that the project TMWA and the Ministry of Agriculture has assisted to provide, because it has helped them to save their lives and do better in planning for the fishing activities. Continue next. So in terms of weather information itself, we have a farmer from also Zanzibar who now uses the information that is being provided. And because of that, his farm is being considered as an example farm at his neighborhood where people comes and seek an advice on when to start and how to do the planting. Click next. Or can you go back, please? I think there is a portion that's not seen here. So this farmer, Hassan Hajifumu, has been like a role model in influencing others to make use of the weather information that he gets, because through the project, he was able to get the downscale forecast, know when exactly to plant, what type of seed, and also what kind of technology he can be able to use in order to improve his productivity within the season. And this is contrary to others who are relying on the long-term experience that the rain starts on this date. So I started the preparation on this date, and then sometimes they end up not being right, and they lose their productivity or seeds in preparation for the upcoming season because of the maybe below normal rainfall or heavy rain that might be expected. Let's go on. So now we have some overall impact of the climate services that are being provided. And we actually looked at the extension officers and tried to see what kind of information or how the climate information helps them to provide better services to the farmers. And their response has been by having climate information in time, they were able to plan better for the advice that they offer to the farmers and tell them what to plant, and also prepare relevant seeds and technology that they can be used, that they can use in doing their agricultural production during the season. But the other advice that they've been providing is selection of seed which are adapted or are in line with the forecast that has been forecasted, and provide advisory on where to get those type of agri input that would assist them in their production. But more importantly is the support that they offer to the farmers during the season in terms of how the season is progressing. And this is where we see that the 10 days focus is very much needed in order to assist our extension officer to provide better advisory to farmers within the season as well. Because at the start of the season, you know how the season is going to be, but you don't know variation or weather system, when can they change and what impact they might have. So the 10 days focus becomes a useful tool to be considered. Next. Now, looking at the farmers, how has this information been helping them? So the first one that we can see is that they were able to use the information to know when they can start the land preparation. And this is different from the normal way that they should start on certain date, or when they see there's a lot of clouds in the sky, or when they've seen a small rain that has come during the season. Now they've changed their perspective and know that they need to rely on the forecast that is provided to know exactly when the season is starting, because there is a case of a false start as well. But other things is selection of seed variety that can go with the season. So there's no relying on that in this area. We use this type of seed, but you don't know whether the season is going to be the same or different. So now they can, even if the area has got a very long season, they can plant a short-term variety based on the forecast, how it is saying. But also we have seen that, or they have responded to say that they are changing their practices. Climate smart agricultures are being adopted, and they choose the ones which are most relevant to the forecast and their local area conditions. Because we have a lot of climate smart agriculture practices, but not all of them are applicable at all the time or in every season. So they now understand that when the season comes, they can sit down and decide which type of agricultural climate smart agriculture practice they can use based on their particular landscape.
Mr. Malozo, maybe we can start closing the presentation so that we have enough time for the panel. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, I'm actually closing now. I would just like to say that FAO is still working with the TMWA and the Minister of Agriculture to ensure that there is adequate access to climate services by farmers and livestock keepers using digital platforms and mobile phones. Like for the Minister of Agriculture, they are using M-Kilimo, in which at the moment FAO is working with them to support establishment of the call center that can assist farmers to ask for information, but also get information. There is also a weather or mobile-based app developed by FAO that has been adopted to support access to these 10 days and seasonal information in a user-friendly way. So this one, we are also working closely with stakeholders in the country and promoting it so that there is more access to this information. On the other hand, I think that we need to continue working together to ensure not only the seasonal and daily forecast are being used, but also the 10 days forecast is being considered by farmers in the country. And with that, I think I come to the end of my presentation, and I would like to say thank you.